Now, in high definition, you're watching WTOC TV, the Southeast News leader.
Hot, sloppy, windy, rainy Memorial Day. Certainly, Eve is expected on beaches and in tourist towns all along the southeast coast. Good evening. I'm Sonny Dixon.
And I'm Jody Chapin. Right now, tropical storm warnings are in effect for the entire Georgia coastline, as well as parts of Florida and the South Carolina Lowcountry. Tropical storm Beryl is expected to bring wind and rain to the coast after midnight. Folks keeping a close eye on the weather are getting constant and continuing information from WTOC. And our WTOC team coverage continues right now. Sharice Thompson is in McIntosh County, closer to where the eye of the storm is expected to make landfall. And Melanie Roberti is on Tybee Island, where rip currents kept rescue crews busy all day. Well, we want to start with our coverage right here. First Alert forecaster Ron Wallace. Big John Weatherby. Big John, go for it.
I'll be happy to. Tropical storm warning means gusty winds, locally heavy rainfall. That warning is in effect through the day tomorrow and into Monday as we watch Beryl approach. It's a minimal subtropical storm. Subtropical meaning it's a shallow storm, doesn't have a lot of structure upstairs. It's also going to have trouble holding together, but it's going to do just fine. All this moisture out in the Atlantic should stay away, and you can see some dry areas that are being pulled into Beryl. She warmed or strengthened briefly, now up to 50 miles an hour with maximum winds moving southwest at 7. Here's the updated storm track for 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, for 8 o'clock tomorrow evening. Look at this, about midnight, making landfall just south of Jacksonville. Look at this. As she comes in, she'll be downgraded to a depression Monday night. Tuesday, she starts turning and coming right back across Savannah as a tropical rainmaker, probably as a tropical low, then zooms back out into the Atlantic and becomes a tropical storm all over again, but not a concern for us. So here's what to expect. Tropical storm warnings still in effect and will continue to be in effect. Don't be surprised by a tornado watch for tomorrow. Every time there's a land-falling tropical storm, that's always a possibility. And locally heavy rainfall. The storm track is going to determine how much rain is actually going to fall in the area. Rough surf and rip currents as well in local areas. Let's get your exact forecast in. Ron Wallace has that. Ron?
That's right, John. Here's what we can expect. Right now, we're taking a look at our live Dopplermax 11 radar, the only live radar in Savannah. It's all clear, nothing going on at the moment. However, as we move through the overnight period around midnight, we'll see highs, temperatures in the mid-70s, dropping to the lower 70s, increasing chance for rain as we move through the overnight. Some low country storms are possible. It'll start getting windy in the morning hours, and then during the afternoon around 11 into the 80s, 84 by 3 p.m. And we have an increased chance for rain up to about 60% tomorrow evening, with high surf and rip currents possible. Also, of course, tropical winds are expected to affect some areas, specifically along the coastal areas. And we'll have more details on Beryl's activities coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Ron and Big John.
Well, while the outer bands of Tropical Storm Beryl are expected to start making landfall in the next few hours, the weather was pretty perfect today, especially on Tybee Island. And that's where WTOC's Melanie Roberti is right now. Melanie, I'm sure the party atmosphere on Tybee is continuing. We can hear it there. But are people getting a little concerned?
Yeah, there are a little bit, but there's still a party definitely going on out here. People aren't too concerned, at least for right now, but the waves out here are getting bigger and the rip currents getting stronger. Take a look at some of the video that we shot earlier today. There's definitely people on the pavilion, out on the pier, just still hanging out, partying, and having a good time, some even still on the beach. But it's going to be a different situation tomorrow. Waves are already starting to pick up, plus gusty winds. Rip currents are going to be a big issue, according to Tybee Mayor Jason Buelterman, and will be through at least Monday. Some people decided today they were going to leave ahead of the storm.
Partly because of the storm. A few of us were going to leave tomorrow anyway, but a few have decided to leave early because of the storm.
I've never been in one, so you don't know. Yeah, you don't know what to expect.
I've never been through a tropical storm. In New York, we don't have no tropical storm, so you make me want to go back to New York now.
Well, Tybee Mayor Jason Buelterman said they are on top of this storm. They are in touch with SEMA, also the National Weather Service. He just wants people to be aware of these rip currents because they are going to be so dangerous and you can't see them with the naked eye, especially for visitors who have never been to Tybee before. So he urges people to stay out of the water if they can. He wants parents to keep an eye on their children, and if they do get into the water, accompany those children into the water. He's also been in touch with many nursing homes to make sure they have a contingency plan in case the power goes out, and everyone is ready in case the storm hits tomorrow afternoon. Jody?
Melanie, one question people may have if they were planning to head in that direction tomorrow, right now the beaches are not closed technically, right?
Yeah, the beaches are still open as of right now, but today they had 32 rescues out here. One person went to the hospital and is in serious condition. So if you're going to come out here, just play it safe. Well, they want you to swim around where the lifeguard stands are. Also, again, don't get into the water if you don't have to. If you do, and you do get into a rip current situation, you want to swim parallel to the shore, not towards the coastline. You swim parallel, that'll get you out of it. A lot of people panic in that situation, and I don't blame them. But that's what you want to do in that measure. But just know that it's going to be kind of a dangerous situation here down on Tybee tomorrow.
People just need to keep checking the conditions. Thanks, Melanie, out on Tybee. Have a good night.
A little bit to our south, folks in McIntosh County, keeping a close eye on Beryl. While emergency managers aren't issuing any special alerts, they are wisely advising people just to be vigilant, be cautious. WTOC Sharice Thompson is live in Darien tonight, joining us via FaceTime. She is at the McIntosh County Emergency Management Agency. What's going on there, Sharice?
Well, Sonny, the county wants people to be cautious, but they don't want anyone to panic. They are watching the storm, but they say until Beryl makes landfall, they are not issuing any special alerts or taking any special measures. Now, officials say that because this is just a tropical storm and not a hurricane, they aren't ordering any evacuations or anything like that. Now, we did catch up with some people earlier today who were in town, just out and about, going about their everyday business. They tell me that they're used to these bad storms. They're not too concerned, but officials say until this tropical storm gets here, they're not pressing any panic buttons.
Unless things drastically change, we're looking at a pretty good size nor'easter, which can be 25, 35, maybe 40-mile-an-hour winds, 2 to 3 inches of rain over a given period of time. So unless it does change drastically, that's pretty much what we're looking at. We could have some areas that's real low-lying areas could be subject to flooding, but nothing major.
Now, officials advise to really just use your common sense. We've all kind of been in storms before, some worse than others, but they say that if you do see any downed trees or any power lines, be careful, and of course you don't want to drive through any standing water. Just some safety tips that they wanted us to pass along, because really at the end of the day, we just want to keep everybody safe as Beryl makes her way here.
And of course, Mr. Parker, he sounds like so many of us old seesaws who've seen a lot of situations like this over the years. You just kind of keep your powder dry. But they too, in McIntosh County, specifically in Darien, have seen the damage tornadoes can do, and that is a possibility, as Big John has said. So be watchful, be vigilant, don't panic. Good advice. Thanks very much, Sharice Thompson in Darien.
Tropical storm Beryl keeping rescue crews busy, not just on Tybee Island today. The Jacksonville Fire and Rescue Department had to go to Talbot Island State Park, where they rescued 8 people from the water. Everyone is accounted for there. No one needed medical attention.
Vacationers in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, not getting the beach vacation they wanted. The tropical storm is already causing 3 to 5 foot waves along the popular Horry County, South Carolina beach. Lifeguards would not let people get more than waist deep in the water there because, just like on Tybee Island, extremely strong rip currents.
Those who started the holiday weekend along the North Carolina coast have an unsettled forecast ahead of them as well. Take a look at these swimmers enjoying the sun and surf at Wrightsville Beach near Wilmington. The Red Cross is warning swimmers there to swim only on lifeguard protected beaches within designated swimming areas. Rip currents, again, also getting more powerful as Beryl draws closer.
That name Beryl sound familiar? Yeah, this is video of the last time a tropical storm named Beryl made landfall. It was back in July 2006. This storm hit Nantucket, that area, Cape Cod, Massachusetts, brought strong winds, steady rain, knocked down a few tree limbs, no power outages reported. The storm did bring a few wind gusts that were clocked as high as 50 miles an hour before it moved on up toward Canada, leaving the northeast U.S. relatively unscathed.
Well, check out the Weather First Alert, the WTOC First Alert weather app available for Android and iPhone devices. If you want to track any storm, especially tropical systems, this is the way to do it. You can look at radar, cloud cover, storm tracks, watches and warnings, even earthquakes, believe it or not. Just go to your Android or iPhone market, download the First Alert weather app for WTOC.